You're standing in the grocery store. In one hand, a conventional apple shiny uniform, affordable. In the other, an organic one, perhaps a bit smaller, a bit duller, but bearing that coveted green seal. A halo of virtue seems to glow around it. The label whispers promises of purity, health, and a better world. You pay the premium, feeling like you've made the right choice, a responsible choice. But what if that feeling is based on one of the most successful and misleading marketing campaigns of our time? What if I told you that the pesticide-free promise is a myth? The nutritional superiority is scientifically unproven, and the environmental benefits come with a dark, hidden cost. Today, we're not just shopping for groceries. We're peeling back the label on the multi-billion-dollar organic industry to uncover the inconvenient science, the marketing genius, and the complex truth about what you're really buying when you buy organic. First, let's dismantle the foundational myth that organic means pesticide-free. This is unequivocally false. Organic farming uses pesticides. The critical distinction is that organic standards prohibit synthetic pesticides and fertilizers. Instead, they rely on a list of approved natural substances. This is where the marketing genius lies. The word natural feels safe, pure, and harmless. But in the world of chemistry, natural does not mean non-toxic. Let's look at the approved organic arsenal. Copper sulfate, a widely used organic fungicide, is highly toxic to soil microorganisms, earthworms, and aquatic life. It accumulates in the soil over time, poisoning it for future generations. Rotenone, another organic pesticide derived from plant roots, has been directly linked in laboratory studies to the development of Parkinson's-like symptoms. And here's the kicker. Because many natural pesticides are less potent than their synthetic counterparts, organic farmers often have to apply them in much larger quantities and more frequently to achieve the same effect. The idyllic image of an organic farm, untouched by chemicals, is a carefully crafted fantasy. The reality is that both farming systems use chemicals to fight pests. They just come from different sourcebooks. The question isn't if your food has pesticide residue, but which kind. Okay, you might argue, but surely organic food is more nutritious. That's the whole point, right? This is the central promise that justifies the premium price tag. But when we move from the marketing aisle to the laboratory, the evidence for this claim collapses. Over the past 2 decades, major meta-analysis studies that review all other high-quality studies have been conducted by institutions like Stanford University and the Mayo Clinic. Their conclusions are consistently underwhelming. There is no strong, consistent scientific evidence that organic foods are significantly more nutritious than their conventional counterparts. Yes, some studies find slightly higher levels of certain antioxidants, like phenols, or specific fatty acids in organic produce and dairy. But these differences are often small, highly variable depending on the crop, weather, and soil, and are unlikely to have a meaningful impact on the overall health of a person eating a balanced diet. The nutritional content of a carrot is determined far more by its specific variety, the health of the soil it grew in, and how long it sat on a truck and a shelf, than by whether the pesticide used on it was natural or synthetic. You are not paying for more vitamins. You are paying for a production method and the philosophy behind it. This brings us to the environmental argument, often considered the trump card for the organic movement. And to be clear, organic farming has real, tangible benefits. It promotes greater biodiversity, from insects to birds. It is excellent for building long-term soil health through practices like crop rotation and composting. And it prevents the runoff of synthetic nitrogen fertilizers, which create massive dead zones in our oceans. These are significant victories for local ecosystems. However, organic agriculture has a massive and often ignored Achilles heel: the land use problem. On average, organic farms yield 20 to 25% less food per acre than conventional farms. This is a brutal mathematical reality. To feed our current global population of 8 billion people using exclusively organic methods, we would need to convert a landmass the size of another South America into farmland. That means catastrophic deforestation, habitat destruction, and the release of immense amounts of carbon stored in those forests and soils. So we face a paradox. Organic farming can be better for the local environment on a per-farm basis, but it may be worse for the global environment on a per-calorie basis. It's a complex trade-off with no easy answer, a far cry from the simple green solution it's marketed as. So why is there such a massive gap between the scientific consensus and public perception? The answer is twofold: psychology and marketing. The organic industry has masterfully leveraged a powerful logical fallacy known as the appeal to nature. This is the inherent intuitive belief that what is natural is good, and what is man-made or synthetic is bad. It's a simple, emotionally resonant story, but it's a story that ignores reality. Nature is filled with deadly toxin, cyanide, arsenic. While synthetic science has given us life-saving vaccines and antibiotics, the organic industry built a multi-billion-dollar empire by selling a narrative of purity versus contamination, of good versus evil. They sell not just food, but an identity. They sell virtue. And it has been one of the most successful marketing campaigns in human history. So, does this mean organic food is a complete scam? No, not at all. There are valid reasons to choose it. The most significant is the reduced exposure to synthetic pesticide residues. While regulatory agencies deem the levels on conventional produce to be safe, many consumers, particularly parents of young children, prefer to minimize this exposure as a precautionary principle. Furthermore, organic standards for animal welfare are generally much higher, prohibiting extreme confinement and the routine use of antibiotics. And the benefits to local soil health are real. The truth about organic food is that it is not a simple choice between good and bad. It is a complex series of trade-offs. If your primary goal is to avoid synthetic pesticides and support higher animal welfare standards, organic is a logical choice. If your main concern is nutrition for the dollar, the science suggests your money might be better spent simply buying more fruits and vegetables, regardless of how they are grown. And if your focus is on global environmental impact, the land use issue makes conventional high-yield farming a surprisingly strong contender. Perhaps the most conscious choice isn't about a label, it's about being informed. It's about eating a diverse diet, reducing food waste, and supporting local farmers who use responsible practices, whether they have an organic certification or not. The green seal is not a shortcut to a clear conscience. The real organic choice is to look beyond the marketing, understand the complex science, and make a decision based on your own values and priorities, not on a well-told story. What's your take on organic food? Do you think it's worth the extra cost? What was the most surprising fact you learned in this video? Share your opinion and experiences in the comments. Let's have a healthy debate on this important topic. And if you enjoyed digging for the truth behind food myths, subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell, because there are many more inconvenient truths about what we eat waiting to be revealed. Until next time.